Hello and welcome back to Off-Cam Celebs. For today's video, we will be talking about the 15 extreme Stranger Things scenes to film. Let's get started. Number 1. Millie Bobby Brown was suffering from a severe case of FOMO. Season 4 was the most difficult for Millie to film because she had such a gloomy plot, in contrast to her co-stars, as she found herself away from them a lot. While that is fairly common for Odd Things, she could see Flynn and some of the others having a good time on set, doing the lighter comedy work, and she was unable to participate. And it's especially difficult when you grew up with your co-stars and consider them your greatest friends. Millie said, "You get to see Eleven in the darkest state she's ever been. This has definitely been the hardest season I've ever filmed. There have been some of the scariest things that I've ever seen as a human." Number 2. Menthol in the eyes. It's not what it was designed for, but it works. Joe Keery was already sick and had to have menthol blasted into his eyes to get the desired redness for the scenes where Steve is beaten up. What is Vicks for, and why does Vicks Vapor Rub contain menthol? A runny nose. So when Joe unintentionally put it in his eye, we're quite sure that was the reason they used it. If it was done on purpose, it might have helped clear his sinuses. Number 3. Joe wasn't the only one who had thrown up. 11 in the Abbeys struggled to break free from Billy's hold in a pluribus unum episode. She riled around as she drifted away. Millie was hooked to a rig that spun her in circles for this feat. Millie admitted, "Physically, it was so unbelievably challenging for me. After a few takes, it's no surprise that this made Millie throw up afterwards." She posted about it with the caption, "You spin me right round, baby, right round." The collapse. Millie's head was spinning before, but now it's just her head spinning. The cast and crew had a difficult time shooting inside the sauna. However, it appears that Millie took the worst of the heat. They spent 4 days on a tiny stage, approximately the size of a genuine sauna. With 6 actors and about 100 crew, it was squishy and hot, and they shot the scene a million times. The moment that went horribly wrong made it into the show. She was so exhausted when she dropped into Finn Wolfhard's arms. Mike even appears to break character by looking over for assistance. Number 5. Millie might find it too hot, but we're going to stay because the sauna is rather wonderful. Dacre Montgomery jumped overboard and slammed his head against the glass of the sauna. The headbutt was completely improvised and unfortunately did not make the final cut. Number 6. Let's just say there's a reason why slingshots aren't allowed in schools. Slingshots aren't for the children. They're weapons for slaying frightening upside-down monsters. And that's all there is to it. Caleb McLaughlin, on the other hand, evidently missed the memo and hit himself in the face instead. Number 7. We suppose Millie was also feeling FOMO at the time. Millie Bobby Brown broke her kneecap before filming season 3 of Stranger Things, so she wouldn't do many stunts or even heavy activity, which includes riding a bike, which the ensemble does a lot of. Number 8. The King of Prosthetics. For a time, Dacre had to wear 33 prosthetics. Do you understand what that means? That's a lot of prosthetics, as did his stunt double. It was so hot and humid outside that Dacre became stuck to the tablecloth while eating his lunch. Dacre's sequences were moved ahead due to Millie's knee ailment. This put a lot of strain on the makeup team to build the prosthetics quickly. It was necessary to make compromises. Quality trumps time, and the prosthetics had such an effect on him that he noticed his body hair wasn't growing back in some sports. But that wasn't all. Dacre didn't understand how bad he's been beaten up until he removed all of his false injuries to expose the real ones underneath. "I was covered head to toe in cuts and bruises, and I took all the skin off the tops of my toes," Dacre revealed. Number 9. Noah's black contacts. While Schnapp appeared to be sweating, his eyes were the only thing that was burning. Noah Schnapp's black contacts caused his eyes to burn brightly. Filming his possession scenario was difficult for a variety of reasons. It was winter in actual life, and his attire was inappropriate for the weather, and the heaters depicted in the show were ineffective. Number 10. The screaming. Why couldn't she have landed a comedy or even a straightforward drama? Obliterating your vocal cords is the best method to end your performing career. Millie had to scream at unusual things so much that she lost her voice 5 times in 8 months. However, she had to return to ADR and therefore lost it all over again. We're curious if this slowed production or if they planned the timeline around the cries needs for healing time. Number 11. Deep down, they're just a guy in a bad situation. Mark Steger found navigating the Demogorgon prosthetic suit difficult. In it, he had to perform some extremely tough stunts. But what made it even more difficult was that his vision was severely limited. They eventually chose to use CGI instead because it was so difficult to pull off. Number 12. If you keep yelling, your vocal cords will snap. Millie wasn't the only one who has had her vocal cords destroyed. Noah had to scream with everything he had till 6 a.m. during one long night shot. Stranger Things like to get tangled in a million different ways. Thus, for the exercising scene. Number 13. We'd sooner confront a Demogorgon that jump into a freezing pool. For the suspension sequence, Millie Bobby Brown was plunged into ice-cold water. Despite the crew's best efforts, the water was simply too shallow and became too cold too quickly. Number 14. The Breakup. We never considered filmmaking to be like Groundhog Day before, but it is in some ways. Joe Keery found shooting the breakup scene with Natalia to be daunting. He hadn't yet mastered the art of releasing his character once the camera stopped filming. It was really difficult for him to be broken with time and again. Number 15. In that tremendously painful departure moment where the entire ensemble of youngsters had to somehow manage to push themselves to tears, they discovered that they didn't need sad music or menthol in their eyes to do it. Simply thinking about saying goodbye one day was enough. If you ask us, this is a reality that is approaching far too soon. Millie mentioned that one of the cast kids proposed, "Imagine if we had to do this for real one day. What if, when Stranger Things is over, we'll all have to say goodbye to each other and like this is it." And then everyone started crying and they got the shot. So how do you feel about these scenes? Which scene do you consider to be the tensest? Please let me know by leaving a comment below. And if you enjoyed this video, please press the like button, turn on the notification bell, and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Thank you for stopping by to watch. See you on our next video.